Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Bishop the Bird Nick, and with me today, we have my cigar smoking buddy, Mike Brinker. How the hell you doing, man?
Hello there, everybody. I'm doing great, Nick. How are you doing today?
Doing good. So today, we are here coming to you from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios in Rivermen Cigar Company. Chilling back here in the lounge, and we're going to be smoking a suggestion that Miss Cindy gave us.
Miss Cindy.
So we're going to be smoking the Aganorsa Guardian of the Farm, the Apollo. It is a 6x44 cigar and is a Nicaraguan Puro. And this medium-bodied cigar delivers notes of pepper, cedar, and vanilla. It sports a Corojo wrapper and binder draped over a flavorful mixture of Corojo and Criollo filler leaves. Handmade in Nicaragua, this cigar received the number 8 spot in Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 of 2017.
Nice. Sounds yummy.
I know, right?
I think I've had a few of these, but it's been so long, I really have no palate memory of it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I know I've had, well, what's the one, the newer Guardian of the Farm? The Cerebus?
Cerebus,
Yeah, I know I've had that. And I feel like I've had this. Probably have had this. But we're definitely going to have it today.
Yes.
So, anyway, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by Dan the Man Ponder. He's right here, just off camera, at Rivermen Cigar Company. And, guys, he has the Guardian of the Farm Apollo. He also has all kinds of other great cigars. He just got in the 2023 Las Calaveras from Crown Heads. He has in the newest one from Esteban Carrera, the Devil's
Hand.
And all kinds of other great cigars here at Rivermen Cigar Company. There's also the PCA stuff is still rolling in. So, you know, it's a good time that if you're looking to stock up and fill that humidor, if you're in the St. Louis area, swing on by. If you're not, he does mail orders. So you can give him a call, talk to Dan, talk to Miss Cindy, place an order, get some cigars shipped to you right away. It's the beauty of all things.
Yep.
So, anyway, Rivermen Cigar Company, Crestwood, Missouri, and it's now time to go ahead and cut the cigar. So, we'll get this going here. So, 6x44, not quite a Lancero. It's kind of Corona-sized, ring gauge-wise, but it's like a long Corona.
That's what she said.
Okay. I mean, you know, maybe she's into that. I don't know. Anyway. Doing the cold draw. And,
Nice draw.
it's a little sweetness. Little bit of sweetness to it.
Right on the front end more than the back end,
Yeah.
I would say, too.
Yeah. It's like right when you draw in. I'm going to go ahead.
I got to put my glasses on or else I'm going to look like an idiot burning my finger on.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to do that. So, it does have a slight, I don't know if yours does, but mine's got a little bit of lap over for like a closed foot, you know, there.
Right.
So I got to watch that for shirt burning purposes here. I don't want to do that. Or in my case, since I'm doing it a little further out, pants burning purposes, which is even worse. Well, that'll be an interesting. Okay. Getting it going here. Alrighty. Well,
Got
so
mine
Mike,
going.
what have you been doing since we last chatted? We don't need to get into all the specifics. Just hanging out, having
Just
a good time.
hanging out, smoking some cigars.
There you go.
Getting ready for the end of summer.
Yeah.
And the obvious things that go with that, like we discussed earlier, football.
Exactly.
College
Now-
football, pro football is all starting to really get wound up, and that's an interesting time for me. I love it. I'm a football freak.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll
so-
admit I've been kind of a casual fan the last couple of years. I used to be much more engaged when I was involved in a couple of fantasy leagues, but lately it's been less so. So I don't know. Are there anything specifically that you're looking forward to with this season? I did see a picture of Aaron Rodgers in the Jets uniform, and it looked like a picture of Aaron Rodgers in like the Spirit Halloween like Jets costume.
yeah,
It didn't look right.
it does look weird. That is definitely one of the storylines I'm interested to see. There's been a lot of hype around the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And like any Midwesterner, I kind of root against New York teams personally. I hope I don't offend too many of your East Coast fans.
Oh, no.
But,
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean,
they couldn't pinpoint probably St. Louis on the map if they had to, so what does it matter?
I mean, the Patriots fans could because they,
Yeah,
taped our practices and won a Super Bowl with it.
probably got got this place bugged.
See, that's the thing. Everybody talks about Deflategate. I don't think about Deflategate.
Right.
I look back to the first controversy with Brady and Belichick when they were taping the Rams practices, prior to the Super Bowl.
Which is why they got hammered like they did, because they considered it a cumulative.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, first time was like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
And then.
But nonetheless, that one always gets ignored.
Right.
So.
Except here.
Well, yeah, we never forget. Although then again, I don't know who we're more bitter at in St. Louis.
Kroenke
or Belichick. It's
I would say now it's more Kroenke.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely
Yeah.
more Kroenke. But, that New York Jets situation, all the injuries going on, holdouts, things like that. It's just real interesting right now. It usually all shuffles out and gets put away before the season starts, but you never know. Plus, you got, baseball playoffs are starting to tighten up. Here in St. Louis, the Cardinals have sold a lot of players.
We don't really care about baseball, here in St. Louis anymore this year, given how poorly the Cardinals have played.
And we'll still probably outdraw a bunch of the playoff teams.
Well, that's true. But, because, we'll go to games.
Right.
But,
we're there for the party, not the
point,
pristine baseball.
Well, and then hockey will be starting up sometime soon, right?
Yeah, training camps, I think, open in September for hockey.
It feels like as soon as that sport ends, it's already, gearing up for the next season.
Right. But what hurts them is the playoffs are so long. So most of the league's out and really resting starting in May. It's just the finals aren't done till mid-June.
That's true.
But, that's just a handful of teams by the end and then just two. So
yeah.
A lot of people get plenty of time off.
There you go.
Doesn't seem to be hurting them too bad.
So are you in fantasy football?
Yes, I am. I play in a couple of different leagues.
Okay, so not to give anybody in your leagues a little advanced head, peek into your process, but when you're coming into a draft, what are you looking at? What are you considering?
It's a lot of different things. From obviously I'm in the camp of going running back heavy early in the first few rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pick a quarterback till mid rounds, because I don't know. There's just so few great wide receivers and running backs that you can only start one quarterback in our league. So by the fourth or fifth round, I'll pick the best quarterback available, and not to. Just in case anyone's out there, we're in a 10-man league.
Okay.
Very competitive, and, over the 4 years, this will be our 5th year. So, first year I finished out of the playoffs. Then I finished second, third, and then second last year. So, I am competitive in this league. But everyone's got their own strategies. Some people just use... these sites now, we use ESPN. It tells you the best players out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just click, click, click.
No.
I do try to put a little more thought into my team, how I want it to do. And some of it's just flat out stupid superstition. If my best player I had last year, I will not draft this year because I know he's going down.
Okay.
And really,
Okay.
he already has. I had Joe Burrow last year. He's already, tore a calf muscle.
Oh.
I mean, he's
So
coming
it's true.
back,
It's
but
holding true.
yeah. I had Derrick Henry 2 years ago. Last year, he got hurt and missed a significant amount of time. It's just I'm very superstitious on some things for no reason other than in my head it makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Kind of like certain people with cigars.
No, that's true.
I'll never smoke a Lancero or I'll never smoke a 60. Now, granted, I will never smoke anything over a 60, but
I was gonna say I have my but see, that's not so much
Right, that's a
superstition.
preference.
That's more preference. I mean,
right.
because I'm with you. Like 60 is my top. I don't want to go any bigger than a 60. That's what she said. But I mean, okay. So along those lines, have you seen? I think it's Asylum that's putting out the 10 by 100.
No, I have not seen that one yet.
It's a torpedo, so theoretically you can
clip it decently with an 80.
Yeah, exactly, to an 80. But nonetheless, it's there's that. I'm wanting to say Aganorsa Leaf is putting out like a gigantic,
Now that surprises
10 by
me
100 something or other too.
because I really like them, and I just never saw them jumping into
The gimmick territory.
that territory.
Yeah,
Because they seem to be more of a classic.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Well, here, let's talk amongst ourselves while I look this up. But I'm pretty sure I saw pictures of Terrence Riley at the PCA. There it is. And he was smoking this gigantic thing. Maybe.
Maybe
Thought he
not.
was. I might have just totally put out bad information. I don't know. I could have swore it was. Well, maybe not. What is this? No gimmicks here. That's when they brought on Fabian.
Fake news? Is that
You
what
know
we're
what?
talking about?
All right.
Fake news, people.
I'm just gonna have to look this up.
Coming from a journalist. There's a shock.
Aganorsa Leaf Giant Cigar. See if that. Well, let's see if Google can figure out what I just said too.
If Google can't find it, they'll make it.
Here it is. Aganorsa's enormous 100 ring gauge cigar. They're releasing a mammoth cigar, mixed filler brand, goes premium, but stays affordable. It's part of their JFR Lunatic line.
Okay.
It is a 10 by 100, and it's a Belicoso Maduro. It's all Nicaraguan, save for the dark Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Once again, there's your San Andreas.
Blended to be medium to full in body, not sold in traditional boxes, but rather in single wooden coffins, with a suggested retail price of $39.99 a piece. Production is limited to 2,500 cigars, and the company plans to make this an annual release. So yeah, for what it's worth,
I can
they're
see
doing a 10 by 100.
I mean, it really looks exactly like the...
And actually, it looks like it. That's the torpedo. So that makes me wonder if the Asylum is not the... I don't know. It makes me wonder if the Asylum is not the big one.
Because that looks like the Asylum 9 by 90 box. Almost like to a litigation point.
Yeah, maybe that's...
Maybe Asylum had a lot of boxes left over and said, hey, why don't you...
Maybe Asylum isn't it. It's 10. The Asylum 10, they're doing an 1118. Maybe that was it. Maybe I got confused. Maybe Asylum's not doing it, and maybe it's Aganorsa.
Like I said, that box looks so much like it. You might have just...
Stepped on your own dick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope not. I mean, I would think that... I don't know. I can't find... I may have inadvertently assigned it to Asylum. It may have been Aganorsa this whole time. I thought they did a giant one, though, because I thought I saw a video from PCA of Christian Aroa smoking one of the giant ones with somebody. So, I don't know. Anyway.
I can see it, though, coming from their JFR line instead of their traditional lines. That does make a
Oh,
little
yeah,
more
because
sense.
that's where they do a lot of their giant ring gauge stuff is
Right.
the,
I'd forgot
the
about
lunatic line. So.
I always forgot about JFR.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't even know how we got on the subject of that. Talking about preferences and whatnot.
Superstitions.
That's it. Superstitions. No, I would think superstition would be more, you know,
I don't smoke on a day that it starts with an S.
well, that would be horrible because
Right.
that's the weekend. I would think it'd be more like, you know, when you light it, you always do the outside, and then you know, have to turn it like, you know, 3 times in your mouth before you know, those kind of things. I don't know.
I'm just lucky enough if I can see it correctly not to burn halfway down the stick.
No, I agree with you there, especially when it's sunny outside.
Oh, man.
You know, I know, I think it's Vertigo. They've got that one lighter with the color-changing flame,
Right.
which, you know, I mean, I guess that's nice, but realistically,
You still can't see it on a bright sunny
I was
day.
going to say, if it's bright and sunny, it's still hard to see. I just watch to make sure I'm not scorching the wrapper, and if I am, then it's like you adjust accordingly.
One thing I've never tried are the electric coil lighters. That might be something.
Like in the car? Like the old school car lighters?
Right, but they make them with traditional lighters now
Oh, really?
that are just USB charged
Okay.
coil lighters. I've seen some Perdomo
have-
had out for a while in some lighter cutter sets. And,
I have a lighter at home that I bought. It's USB powered. You charge it, and it's electric, but it's got 2 little prongs, and when you depress the thing, it creates like an electric charge between the two, and that's what lights whatever. But I've never tried lighting a cigar with it because I wouldn't think that would work.
Right. These have more
This
of a coil inside
Yeah.
that gets, you know, extremely hot. And I've lit a few, seen people light some cigars with them, and I
would-
never thought about it with my vision issues. You know, that way.
Hey, you just kind of jam
Right.
it on there, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I would think that that would be
I'd burn my fingers a lot less,
true. True.
in theory.
In theory. I mean, I don't know. There's probably still a number of listeners who used to have those cigarette lighters in their car that would probably have burned the hell out of their fingers with that.
Drop it.
You know, it's
Oh.
like, you know,
80 miles an hour down 55.
brother or sister dares you, hey, touch us, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know. I didn't. Not saying I did that.
Sure.
But, you know, whatever.
Sure.
Just might take away a fingerprint or two, you know. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You gotta have your superstitions. Back when I was drafting, going back to the actual topic at hand of football, back when I was doing fantasy football, I was kind of similar in that I would try to get a running back the first couple of rounds because it seemed like they were the real points workhorses, you know. But then typically by the 3rd round, if you didn't have a quarterback, you needed to pounce on that because it seemed like everybody in the league would go like quarterback at that point, and you'd end up getting stuck with like a garbage quarterback
Right.
if you didn't jump on it quick enough. You know, the hard thing to do with that, though, too, is try and take a look at the team to determine, like, you know, if this quarterback's going to be even decent. Because, you know, just looking ahead for, you know, let's continue talking about Rodgers at the Jets. I mean, look, whether you like Rodgers or not, when he has a good receiver, he can be a great quarterback.
Right.
You know, but that's the question: is he going to have a good receiver in New York? Because without a good receiver, he can throw the ball anywhere, but is anybody going to catch it?
Right.
You know,
And is the coach going to call the plays that he likes, which I think he will because he's got Nathaniel Hackett there.
Stupid not to. I mean,
You know,
if you're
Hackett's been coaching him for a long time, so.
yeah, I mean, realistically, if you're going to bring in a quarterback, you know, of that level, why would you go against what he's want? It'd be like bringing in Peyton Manning and not listening to him when he's saying, "Oh, I want to run this." You know, it's like,
Every play they're going to call in, they're going to say,
Omaha.
Aaron, score.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. That's
Okay.
the easiest thing to do. I don't know. So going along with superstitions, are there any players or any teams, I should say, that you just won't draft from? Because I can't stand that team. Like, after they moved out of St. Louis, I got to the point it's like, I won't draft any Rams. I can't do it.
I never got to that point because I'm just too competitive, and if there's someone I think can help me win,
you're just going to go ahead and pull them in. Yeah.
Now, there's some teams that I've stayed away from, like the Chargers. The
Yeah.
Chargers always have these great wide receivers on paper that never play more than 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
And it's like I just can't, if they fall to the 10th round or something, sure.
Yeah, well, that's one thing.
But you know, like Mike Evans not Mike Evans, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, I think is his name. It's just.
I always like watching the waiver wires to see
That's
who didn't
where
get picked up that all of a sudden is just going nuts.
Or there's always every team I've done good with. There's that player that was undrafted that I picked. This year it was Pachenko, the backup running back for Kansas City that took off, the 7th round pick.
Yeah. Well, it's the guys
like,
that get a shot because the main guy gets injured, and all of a sudden they got to call this guy up.
And you just, that's a big thing. Every champion or playoff team usually has a couple of those guys that they've picked up that were either dropped or never even drafted due to whatever circumstance, and they're the ones that make it happen.
So now moving to college football. So I know they have, at the conclusion of the season, they have the 4-team playoff.
And this is the last year for that.
Really?
Then it goes to 12.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, they need to expand that out. And
I'm 99% sure this is the last year.
So that's exactly where I was about to go.
It's either next year or the year after that they go to 12.
Okay. Because I was thinking, it's like, create a bigger bracket. I mean, because let's be real. College basketball, does anybody really, truly care until it gets to March Madness?
No, just the pure bloods. You know.
Exactly. But, the vast majority of people, when it gets to March Madness, suddenly everybody's going nuts. They're watching college basketball all over the place because they want to track out. You've got people that don't know anything about college basketball.
And they know they can win.
Put together their brackets and that sort of thing, And so why wouldn't college football follow a similar model?
Right.
Have a larger playoff pool and use these bowl games. And that's the thing. There's so many bowl games.
Right.
So, use these bowl games as the games within the, the playoff, or the bracket.
Right.
To where suddenly these bowl games maybe start to matter a little bit more, too.
Right. And you're going to draw people in now a lot closer to Christmas for those games, you know. There was a lot of money they had to get straight. There was a lot of political correctness with regards to player safety. It's like you can't say you want players to be safe and then add 2 more games to the season just for more money without making it look right, So the right bleeding hearts got paid off or satisfied in other ways, and finally the dollar signs won out. Especially when you get the networks on board. They're like, yeah, give us more, top seeded games against great teams.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting, especially with all the conference realignment going on.
Okay.
There's been a lot. Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the Big 12 after this year, coming to our country, SEC country.
Okay.
Go Mizzou. And Colorado just got approved to leave the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it is now. They're going back to the Big 12, which is going after even more teams. I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years there's no more Power 5s. You're only going to have a Power 4, 4 major conferences, and then everybody else on the outskirts.
Interesting. Now, along those lines, and it's not just football, but just, college sports in general, Explain. Do you understand the whole the way it works that these players can now start making money?
Yes, I have a pretty good understanding.
I don't understand. I don't. I'm ignorant to it. But I just read somewhere that there's this gymnast at one school who's like the high. I think it's a gymnast. She's like the highest paid college athlete or something like that.
I mean, that very well could be. On a basic breakdown, most of the bigger schools, basically what they do is like, for them, their general sports memorabilia sales and stuff, like every player on the team will maybe get like 10 grand.
Okay.
But then, like, just to use Rivermen as an example, let's say Dan wanted to sponsor a player for St. Louis University basketball.
Yeah.
He can sit there and say, I'll pay you $1 million to come here for, 2 years.
Okay.
And do commercial for me,
Yeah.
And
the school can't say anything about it.
No. They would probably basically what they're doing is the school will say to all their, sponsors, who can pony up what? I'll send you the player. Let's get a deal worked out so we can get this player here, type thing.
Okay.
Because right now it's kind of the Wild West, which it always was. It just was never out in the open as much. I mean, everybody knew, wink, wink, but now everyone can do it above board. They're talking about maybe trying to cap certain things because, like, there was a player, a quarterback out of Texas, took a bunch of money, left his senior year of high school early to go take that money at Ohio State, didn't play that first year, and transferred back to Texas.
Yeah.
Said thanks for the money.
Yeah.
And, because with the open transfer portal and the NIL money, it's getting a little too crazy.
Yeah.
I think kids should be able to transfer at least once without any penalty.
But if they do it again.
Or if your coach up and quits or gets fired for scandal, you should be able to transfer without penalty.
Yeah.
But I think once is enough.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting paid, or if you don't honor your commitment, like make them say, hey, you got to play 2 years for this $1 million or something.
Well,
there's some tweaking.
That's the way it is in professional sports. I mean, when you're signing a contract in professional sports, it's so many years, so many millions of dollars per year, and blah, 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 and all that.
But it also has to go both ways. If you sign a kid to a scholarship, you should have to honor that as long as he's willing to stay there. Because schools are just year to year for the most part with these scholarships. They can pull a scholarship, which isn't really fair to a kid who maybe would have had a chance to stay all four at a different school.
Yeah. No, that's true.
There's a lot of tinkering that has to be done. The NCAA is weak. I can see them going away, at least in football, in the next few years, where football is governed by a different governing body altogether.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that on this, national shows and stuff with the big time people that are in the rooms and know.
Yeah.
I could really see that happening one day, soon.
I wonder if you could see, like, the NFL kind of coming in and making this more of a minor league program for them.
I don't know about that, just because that's a lot of they're already getting the product they want. Why get involved and possibly have to spend their own money?
Yeah.
Or have their name dragged through the mud if something bad happens.
Yeah.
They're more of the, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but we'll let it go as it is.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
in my opinion.
In your opinion.
I've got a cigar in my hand, so obviously I have an opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing about the Cigar Lounge. You can sit back here, everybody has an opinion, and you can solve all the world's problems in the course of about an hour to an hour and a half.
And, that's another reason I wanted to bring it up today, is because on Sundays, most of your cigar lounges are going to be full of people watching football. So it fits into what the pulpit is about, cigars and fellowship. Guys come in and, there'll be 2 or 3 different games on depending on the situation. And everyone's enthused about something.
For sure. I don't know. It's funny. So as we're sitting here, there was a commercial that just came out for the WNBA for a game coming up later. And, it's what's, interesting is we're talking about football, basketball, kind of these like top tier sports
Right.
and everything. And I think one of the thing that fascinates me is when you hear about these high school kids that they get involved in a sport that is a little off the beaten path.
Mhm.
You know, for example, Miss Cindy, she has a grandson who is looking at
Track and field.
for
javelin.
javelin throwing. And it's like he's going to get scholarships and whatnot for javelin throwing. You know, at the high school that I cover for my newspaper, there's kids that have gotten full ride scholarships off of bowling.
Right.
You know, and things like that. And another thing that fascinates me is that these off the beaten path sports, nobody thinks about that. They just talk about football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But it's like, man, there are kids that can go to college all 4 years for pretty much nothing, as long as they're good at
Something.
badminton, you know, or what? Maybe not.
No,
badminton.
you know,
I don't
but-
know. Possibly.
And a lot of that trickles down from football and basketball money.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong; those big programs keep the lion's share of their money, but a lot of these schools aren't exactly spending their endowments to put these kids in scholarships. I mean,
Yes.
look at some of these billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar endowments at universities, because people are just leaving everything to them, and it's like, well, we can't touch the endowments, you know, to give poor kids a good education, or just make an education not crippling expensive.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. And that brings up a whole different thing that we don't need to go down today.
that's
which
like
is,
a 5-show.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the cost of college and, you know, the necessity of college in some cases. I mean, you know, realistically, man, you know, we were talking earlier about truckers and CDL licensed folks and whatnot. And let's be real, they're making a lot better money than I'm making these days. And, you know, granted, they have a tougher job.
Right.
But nonetheless, you know, I had to shell out my student loan repayments and everything else. And, you know, they in some cases went off, got their CDL, got a truck, and now they're making six figures and doing whatever. So, I mean, good for them. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a whole different thing. So, well, why don't we go ahead and give some thoughts on the Aganorsa Leaf Guardian of the Farm Apollo here. It's a slow smoke.
Yeah.
It's been good, though. I've been enjoying it.
I've had a really good burn. I did have to relight it, but that was when I was going on my little spiel about football, and I had ignored it a little bit. Don't judge me. Mine's got a great draw. I just put a nice little simple V-cut on there.
Yeah. I initially did a straight cut. I didn't clip off enough, so I did add the V-cut to it. And you're right. The draw is good. The burn line is really good. Smoke production's great. I have a little crack in my wrapper there.
I might, and I just can't see it.
And so I've been kind of putting my finger over that spot.
Oh, when you
because
draw.
when I draw in,
It's just-
if you listen real carefully. You hear that? There's that little bit of like extra air coming in, so I'm having to draw, you know, that way. But realistically, though, I mean that's
I
not
definitely
bad.
put it at a medium.
yes,
You know,
solid 5.
yeah.
You know, it's a solid 5. It's not oppressive, but it's not light.
But, like, you know, this is my first cigar of the day, so this
Might
is
as well.
kind of like in the wheelhouse where I like to be with my first stick. I don't want to go just flat out Connecticut, but I don't want to just destroy it either, you know.
Well, Connecticut sometimes just is too light, and by the time you're done with it, you're like, okay, let's get into something else.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
Right. This wakes up my palate a little bit. It's non-intrusive. I think you could definitely pair this with pretty much anything you'd want to drink.
It's a smidge of pepper on the retro.
I was going to say, I just saw you
Just a
do.
smidge. It's yeah. I did one earlier, but I don't think I got enough smoke going out the nostrils to be able to detect. But yeah, there's a smidge of pepper to the retro. Yeah, I have my Minute Maid lemonade sitting here that I was going to pair with it because, you know, I just whatever. I'll tell you what, man. When I was out at Two Guys in September of last year for their anniversary party. They have like a private label company that they deal with for all their sodas.
Oh yeah, you've brought that up.
Oh my God,
before.
the lemonade.
Off camera, yeah.
Holy shit!
You said you drank them out,
dude. I did. I like drank them out at the Nashua store. I still have to reach out to Dave and find out who they're using for their lemonade because it was just the best freaking lemonade.
You know, we've got a lot of time left since August 1st is when this is popping.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out to the listeners. What is your favorite non-alcoholic beverage to pair it with a specific stick or just in general? That'd be a great call-in for Ask the Boys.
I'll say this. Other than coffee.
Other than coffee or alcohol.
Other than coffee or alcohol. Everybody always says coffee. If they don't say booze, they typically say coffee.
Right.
But other than coffee and alcohol, that's a good one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, guys, we do have Ask the Boys coming up at the end of the month, and you can get your calls and questions in on that by calling the hotline at area code 863-874-0000. Well, why don't we now go ahead and do the Villiger entertainment report? God, I have got to get... It's so awkward hearing me do that. It's awkward for me to hear it, so I know it's awkward for
You're kind of like that Cars for Kids commercial on satellite radio.
Oh,
that
God.
Everyone flips off.
Cars for Kids. Yeah. K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids.
But I guess it works because everybody knows that commercial.
It's like, yeah, I know. I guess that's the point. Anyway, Villiger cigars, they're great. I gave you one after the last one that we did.
Yes.
That was the La Libertad. What did you think of that?
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good. I'm actually I remember enjoying it.
Yeah. No, I get it. You smoke a lot, so it's like
right.
I'm asking you to remember a cigar you smoked like 3 weeks ago. So It's like, right there on the spot. But guys, if you want to try Villiger cigars, head on over to their website. They have a store locator. You can find a store near you that carries their product. The La Libertad is really great. That 1888 Nicaragua that they just unveiled at PCA, fantastic cigar. The Miami Toro is a limited one that they've got out and about, so if you find that, pick one up and grab it. If you're lucky enough to live near a TAA store that carries Villiger as well, at TAA 2023 cigar is lights out, and it's made in conjunction with Aganorsa Leaf. They partner with another manufacturer for their TAA cigar. So 2020, I believe, was EP Carrillo, and then 21, I feel like 21 was Espinosa? There was somebody else that I cannot remember now, and then Aganorsa Leaf is this year's. And it's really, really good. So, guys, check out Villiger Cigars. You're going to like it. So what have you been watching, Mike?
I have been watching... like I said, I've been watching a lot of the NFL camp reports, stuff like that.
Getting ready.
Yeah, getting ready for that. A lot of the college football reports, a lot of the media days for the conferences, SEC, Big 12, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I follow a lot of that. Other than that, it's I've been following a little bit of the Women's World Cup soccer. The timing on it is a little tough sometimes,
Well, yeah, overseas kind of thing.
Right.
So it's playing at like 3 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're replaying a lot of them to where you can catch it if you're, trying to. And I'm not going to say I'm an avid soccer fan, but I know the game pretty well. I can enjoy a good fought match, even if it's 1-0 or 0-0.
Well, I know Rivermen is a soccer headquarters.
It is a soccer hub
in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So if you're a soccer fan, you can pretty much always guarantee you're going to find the games on here at Rivermen. So
same with MLS here.
Yeah.
Which now St. Louis is really big into.
And that's what I was about to say. Ever since we got, is it City? Is that what
City
we're called?
SC?
City SC. Ever since we got that, it seems like everybody in St. Louis is all of a sudden like a soccer fan. And, I'll admit, I know that you're supposed to kick it into the nets, and you're not supposed to use your hands unless you're the goalie. Aside from that, that is my basic understanding of soccer. Oh, and the clock doesn't stop, right? So,
Correct.
At the end, for penalties and whatnot, they tack on time at the end
Stoppage
of the game.
time.
Yeah. So I know that much.
The game is
but
never really over till the ref says it's over.
okay. And, but yeah, and red card, yellow card. I know that too.
And a lot of people don't realize they throw a lot of freaking money around for these players, especially in Europe. Let's see. I think Saudi Arabia threw like 300 or 400 million at Mbappe to leave PSG, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to stay at PSG, but I'm not going to Saudi Arabia to play."
I still need to watch that one show, that Welcome to Wrexham or whatever.
With Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, and the guy from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, I've never watched that either.
I feel like that would be a good way for me to, like, get to know some of it. It feels like a primer for some of this, I don't know.
Add a little bit of humor, a little bit of knowledge, and,
exactly.
Be able to come in on a casual level.
Yeah. Or Ted Lasso.
I think Welcome to Wrexham's, like, in between Lasso and the real world.
Okay.
Even though it is a real team and they're really playing, but
I've never watched Lasso either because I don't have Apple. I don't have Apple TV. Yeah, that's like the one streamer I don't have. And ironically, I have an Apple TV box, so I never have subscribed to it. It's just one more thing, and there hasn't been enough things on it,
right?
That I've been like, yes,
I gotta see
this.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I watched a movie the other night, and I was talking to you a little bit about it beforehand, but I'm going to bring it up now. I don't know how many of the listeners out there have seen this. It's from, I think, 2013 or 14. It's a Kevin Smith directed movie called Tusk, and it's got Justin Long and the I See Dead People kid.
Okay.
Who really, he's kind of. You still see it in the face.
Right. That's kind of like when he was in Entourage, the movie. It's like,
it's like, ooh, so what happened to you, bud? I mean, not that I have anything to say.
Right,
but,
I know.
But still.
Adonis over here.
Yeah. Fucking chiseled. No, so Justin Long and the I See Dead People kid, they have a podcast called The Not See Party, and it's NOTSEE. So Not See Party. And the whole thing is that Justin Long will go places and interview people, but the I See Dead People kid is afraid of the airplanes, so he doesn't travel, and so he doesn't see everything. So Justin Long has to come back and explain it all, and so he's not seeing what Justin Long sees. But they obviously play up the whole thing, and they're shock jocks. I mean, they're doing all kinds of ridiculous shit. Well, Justin Long has to go to Canada to meet this kid who somehow or another got his hands on a katana sword and, like, initially chopped his leg off from, like, the knee down. And so they're, like, making fun of him. But this kid, like, invited him up to, like, talk to him. And he was a big fan of the podcast, and that's how this came about. Well, he gets up there, and I guess the kid has, like, killed himself with the sword. And so now Justin Long has to find a new story because he doesn't want to waste the trip to Canada.
Right.
And he meets this old guy.
It's always an old guy.
He meets this old guy who's got all these exciting stories about his time on the ocean, serving on ships and whatnot. And he's got this bizarre fascination with walruses. And I'm just going to leave it there because I went into this movie blind.
See, I've heard of it and kind of have an idea of what it's about. And so when you said you saw it, I was like, wow, really?
It's so incredibly fucked up. I don't even... That's the only thing I can say, is that it is just so bizarre. You think you know where it's going to go, and it goes in totally different direction. And by the halfway point of the movie, you've given up trying to figure out where it's going to go because it just goes so many different ways, and it's just absolutely bizarre. And so, and I'm not usually one for, like, scary movies, and this was humorous, but it definitely had a level of darkness to it, and whatnot. But I will say I did have to watch about 4 short. I turned on Looney Tunes and watched 4 of them afterwards to kind of cleanse the mental palate before I went to bed. Because I didn't want to go to bed right after this.
And have some screwed up dream.
Dude, tell me about it. So, like, I ended up watching 4 little clips of Looney Tunes, and the last one I watched was the one with Sylvester and his son, Sylvester Jr., and he's explaining to him how he beat the hell out of this giant mouse, and then the baby kangaroo was behind him.
Oh, God.
So, like,
I know
Sylvester kept getting his ass kicked by the baby kangaroo all over the place. Love that one.
I actually, when you first asked me, my mind went blank into sports, but this past weekend, I did watch an older movie that I've always loved, and you never see it anymore because it was remade, and all you ever see is a remake.
Yeah.
The original Walking Tall from, I believe it was 73.
Oh, yeah.
With Joe Don Baker.
Everybody always plays the one with the rock.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's 2 scenes that just always get me in that movie.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about spoiler alerts. I mean, it's from 73.
It's an old movie. Yeah, exactly.
One, the bad people that he's trying to clean the county up against, they kill his German Shepherd who's trying to protect the family.
Oh, shit.
And he carries it in on Christmas Eve night, all shot up and dead. And then at the very end...
You don't mess with a man's dog.
When they shoot up the sheriff and his wife, the wife dies. And the little boy who had just gotten a shotgun for Christmas walks into the hospital with all the cops and everything with his shotgun to sit next to his daddy to protect him.
Yeah.
It's like, that gets me every time. But great movie. Obviously, it's early 70s. There's some language that was acceptable in the South back then that may shock some people
Not
today.
Not acceptable today.
But it's, and it's based off a true story. I mean, this sheriff did exist.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
This was based off a true story, not the rock version.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And then...
Billions. I've been binging Billions.
Dude, I love that show.
Because on Saturdays now, they're leading up to the new season by showing a complete season every Saturday.
Oh, I didn't realize the new season was coming soon.
Mid-August. Because there's only 2 seasons left to do on Saturdays. So it's in 3 weeks.
I didn't realize the new season was coming soon.
And it looks like Axelrod is coming back for a little bit in the final season.
Oh, good. I'm excited about that. I liked his character a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I
like Wags.
Yes, he's my favorite character out of everybody is Wags. That dude is so messed up and crazy, but he says some of the most off-the-wall funny shit on that show. And then when I see him in other things and he's, like, more controlled, I'm like, no, you got to be more like Wags. It's like, this isn't right. But
like he was on The Office and played like a banker, like a straight-laced banker in one episode. And it's like, no.
He was in that show Suits as well.
I never watched Suits.
I haven't watched all of it. I've seen episodes of it, and it's not bad. It seems interesting enough. But he was in that as well, and he played maybe like Wags, but like taken down about 5 levels. So like still a little like commanding the room, but not as like
in your face
and fucked up as Wags. But Wags is definitely my favorite character out of all of them.
Oh yeah, show. He's crazy.
And then I just finished the 3rd season of The Righteous Gemstones. I was a little down on this season in the beginning of it. I was like, I don't know if this season's hitting me quite as well as the previous 2 have. I feel like the back half of it really picked up a lot, and it got better. And I just saw that it was renewed for a 4th season, so I'm very curious now to see where they go with that after everything kind of settled at the end of this 3rd season. So I'm looking forward to that. It was good. Otherwise, I'm trying to think. There was something that you said, and it prompted me. I had something, and I've forgotten it now. I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me. Oh, whoa. So, recently, you and I were talking with Tom,
mm-hmm.
and that's when I learned that there's going to be a sequel to The Exorcist.
Yes.
So, since then, I have looked up the trailer.
Yeah.
And it looks freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
this isn't one of those, Police Academy 5, type deals. Like we were talking, it's a direct sequel to the original what was that, 78?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yes, I believe so. And it's just ignoring all
Everything
those
else.
shitty sequels and then there was that one prequel, remember, that they
Yes.
did where it showed, what, Father Kurtz, was it Kurtz or the old man,
Yeah.
back when he was young and he first encountered,
Right.
everything.
The demon.
Yeah. But no, I think this looks really good, and the mom is coming back as kind of like the Exorcist expert, So, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's in mid-October that comes out.
Right. I mean, that only makes sense.
Total sense.
If you want to release a, good horror movie, you do it in October.
And see, and The Exorcist is one of those ones. I'm not, like I said, I'm not big into horror. I tend to like the horror movies where it's a mental mind fuck and not so much like a slasher flick. Like, if it's just a cheap jump scare, I mean, come on. I don't...
I'm all into that.
I don't like the cheap jump scares. I like the ones that haunt... Like, Hereditary. Did you see that?
Yes.
Dude, that one screwed with me
Really?
for a while.
See, those don't get me as much, I mean, I enjoy them. I can enjoy that type of a movie. But I like a good old, like 1980 My Bloody Valentine type thing, too, Yeah.
But, no, so I'm looking forward to this Exorcist because I think it might be kind of a good follow-up to the original one.
Right.
So.
And that seems to be what a lot of them are doing now.
Kind of piggybacking off the old one, ignoring all the stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
retcon, I guess is what they call it.
Well, because you're into Halloween, and that's what they did with those.
Yeah, and I enjoyed those.
That was kind of hard for me to track out for a while, because it's like there were like a bunch of them. And
they threw little nods and Easter eggs to those without accepting them as part of canon.
Well, and then did they only reboot Halloween once? Or was there like a Rob Zombie version
Rob Zombie
and then like another?
Rob Zombie did two
of
them that were kind of a reboot.
Yeah.
He did Halloween and Halloween 2 that were kind of his imagining of the first one and then a sequel.
Yeah.
But number 3 back in the 80s was just a complete
Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I loved. That is a big point of contention with a lot of Halloween fans, but John Carpenter
it was supposed to be kind of like an anthology.
Right.
It wasn't
John Carpenter
supposed to
never
be.
wanted to do number 2. He was forced into that to get other movies made.
Okay.
So he kind of threw that together. The whole Laurie Strode being his sister was never supposed to be, and that's why when they did the retcon here recently, they debunked that and literally said, "Oh no, that's just an old that's not true."
Okay.
But Season of the Witch, was Michael Myers was just supposed to be in the first one, and then it was supposed to be different Halloween stories, scary things going on with kind of a slight tie-in to like the pagan, stuff. But
Interesting. So then after Rob Zombies 2,
there was nothing until this,
which was
Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
So there's technically 3 movies named Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what I was confused. I was like, okay, so we have the main one, we have the 2, and then we have this 3, which technically piggyback off of the back of the original Halloween.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
That makes sense. And then wasn't there, since we're talking about like reboots of horror movies, wasn't there also one of Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes, I was never as big into that one because those types of things I don't like to mess with. Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the few that I just really did not watch a lot of them.
Okay.
And they're talking about doing a new one with that too. From what I've read, they did a Friday the 13th back in like 2008. It wasn't really a reboot as much as it was, I don't know how you would describe it, other than it did not do well in theaters. It was an entertaining enough horror film, but... And apparently they've got a TV show coming out, Friday the 13th.
Really?
I think it's... I cannot... Don't judge me that I don't know it. But apparently I think it follows Jason as a child before death.
Okay.
And how messed up he was and what might have...
So kind of like a Bates Motel.
Correct.
Kind of prequely or Hannibal.
I believe that is the premise of it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where that's going to be coming out on. I'm sure it's a streaming
deal,
deal, but I'm not sure who's carrying
Hulu
that.
or Peacock or something like that.
Right. Well, that's all Paramount, so it would be Paramount.
Oh, okay.
They own the Friday the 13th franchise.
Okay. Well, then there you go. Interesting. Yeah, I thought there was like a reboot of the... See, I liked Wes Craven's New Nightmare. The one that was set like in the real world.
Right, behind the production of it or something like that.
That one was good, except for I felt like the ending of it, it was like they got to the end and they were like, well, we really don't know how to end this, and we've kind of run out of money, so let's just do this. And it just kind of was like, whatever. But all of it leading up to that, I thought was really good. And then I'll say for total guilty pleasure cheesy movie, Freddy vs. Jason is freaking awesome.
Yes, they just threw everything at the screen and said, let's see what sticks.
And they have the one dude who's practically Shaggy, from Scooby-Doo. So you've almost got that mixed into it as well. And I just was like, I really did enjoy that one.
Right.
Just kind of a just fun waste of time.
You got to go into those like you do a James Bond movie. You know it's not real. You know it's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
It's just, I need an hour and a half. And that's another thing. Horror movies are not a 3-hour commitment.
Mm-mm.
Like, Oppenheimer and all these other movies, anything from James Cameron, you might as well clear your week.
Hell, Marvel movies these days are freaking getting way too long, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I did finish Secret Invasion on Disney+. And I'm pretty sure they didn't directly say it, but it kind of feels like it feels like if anything is going to pick up the threads from it, it's going to be that Captain Marvel 2, The Marvels, that's coming out later. And I have no interest in that. That's one of the movies, the Marvel movies, that I'm just like, I just don't care. And it's not me picking on, what's her face, the actress from it or anything like that.
Who is hot.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I'm just saying, like, it has nothing. She gets a lot of hatred amongst the Marvel movie people and whatnot, and it has nothing to do with her. It's just, I just don't care about the characters. I didn't watch Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus, so I don't care about her.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, whatever, But I don't know. We'll see. So, well, anyway, why don't we now go ahead and do this?
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars that we smoked and enjoyed this week. And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm asking you about 3 cigars that you smoked and enjoyed. You got any?
One that I really enjoyed that I pulled out of the humidor the other day. I had to go do a bunch of errands where I did not have to get out of the car. So I was like, I'm going to smoke while I do this.
Yeah.
I pulled an Esteban Carreras Mr. Brownstone.
Okay.
Toro.
I like that cigar.
Yeah, and it just, it's been aging for about a year and a half just because I'd bought some stuff and threw it in my humidor.
Yeah.
And then it just smoked perfectly, especially in the car, which not always is a good...
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
let's put it this way. If it's a cigar I want to concentrate on and actually, like, really figure out and get the nuances of,
car.
I'm not driving while smoking it. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that one. Another one, let's see. Trying to think of what I've been smoking.
Well, my first one for the week, I'll give you a little time to think here. I sat down yesterday and started watching. This kind of ties into the Villiger thing as well. Started watching Futurama on Hulu because they've been putting out the new episodes on Hulu. Well, I
Right.
didn't realize that I apparently never watched any of the seasons that were on Comedy Central after they switched from Fox to Comedy Central.
Right.
So I still have like 5 seasons of Futurama to catch up on. So I started watching that, and I sat and I smoked a Perdomo Habano sun-grown Churchill.
Shocker.
I know, right? It's one of my ones.
Go-tos.
And so I smoked that, and I enjoyed some Futurama.
I smoked an Aladino Cameroon Elegante.
Getting fancy with it.
Yeah, those I love a Lancero size, you know,
Yeah.
especially with a good Cameroon wrapper like that. That was just a really good, relaxing afternoon.
Perfect. I was sitting out the other day and was able to fire up a Perla Del Mar Maduro.
I have not
From,
smoked one of them in so
JC
long.
New. I hadn't either. I was digging through my humidor and I found it and I was like, hey, this looks good. Something different. And I was right. It smoked wonderfully. And it was a good time. I have a box of the Corojo,
Mm-hmm.
but and the Corojo, don't get me wrong, is really good. But that Maduro hit different. Like I might need to expand that out into the Maduro realm a little bit on that one.
Yeah, like I said, it's been so long, I couldn't even tell you anything about that cigar.
Yeah. It was good. So your third one.
I tried the 2023 Las Calaveras Robusto.
Oh, I picked one of those up earlier when I bought these cigars for
Yeah.
us.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I was not a fan of last year's.
I was not either. This was better than last year's.
Okay.
It's still no original, but I don't think they'll ever recreate that one.
Yeah. Now, was the one before, which was the yellow band? Which year was the yellow band? Was that 2 years back?
I believe so. 2020 was purple.
Okay. I think 21 was the yellow one.
Okay.
I liked the yellow one. It had a lot of spice and kind of oomph to it.
I don't think I even tried the yellow one.
Okay. But I liked it because it was pretty strong.
Right.
But I know some people have said that it was not their favorite. And I could see that because I don't feel as though it was a very complex cigar.
Right.
It was just like, hey, here's spice, and we're just going to beat you upside the head with it. So, the 23, you thought was decent?
Yes. It was kind of a weird day when I smoked it too.
Yeah.
I will give it another chance to try to see if I like to give everyone at least 2 stick chances.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you never know. Sometimes you're having a bad day, sometimes you're having a good day, and it's a lot better than it really is.
Your mood plays a huge role in how you react to a
Right.
cigar.
Yeah. What I was drinking was a little bit different than what I normally drink and smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
So that may have thrown off into it too. I was talking a lot and having to relight it.
That'll definitely play a role.
Yeah. So I need to take the time and just do a little bit more, like you said, concentrated effort on it.
Yeah.
Which they have here at Rivermen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like
where
I said,
smoked
I
mine.
bought one when I picked up these for us, so I'll be sitting and enjoying that soon. But my third one is one that I smoked also while sitting out and watching Futurama, and it was the AJ Fernandez Diaz de Gloria.
Oh.
I like that one. I don't find it around too terribly. Dan's got it here, and I picked up another one when I bought the Las Calaveras and these for us. But it's one that I don't see around too terribly often.
Right.
I tend to prefer it in the round. I'll accept it in the box pressed, but you know me and my,
I know
my
you in box press.
so whatever. But that's another one that it's very spice forward, but it kind of it does have some nuance to it, and but it's an AJ, so of course
Yeah.
it's got plenty of spice and power to it.
Right.
So, yep, good cigar.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we now learn about My Monthly Cigars? This would normally be the time that I give some information about My Monthly Cigars, but I've hired that out this week, so take it away.
My Monthly Cigars is a premium cigar subscription service. It comes in a variety of different size boxes at affordable prices. Use offer code PULPIT and get free shipping on your first box and 20% off any items in the online store at mymonthlycigars.com.
That's offer code PULPIT. Thanks! So as we're wrapping up here, you can find us on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. You can also join the Cigar Pulpit Parishioners group on Facebook, where you can, hang out, share cigars that you're smoking, talk amongst yourselves, and get show updates and things of that nature. I am on Twitter, or X, or whatever it is we're calling it these days. I don't really do much on there, but, you can follow. I actually saw an article not too terribly long before we started recording. It was kind of funny, and the headline basically was, Elon Musk can change the name to X, but he can't change what other people call it, and basically saying that everybody's still going to call it Twitter, even though it's going to be X or whatever. And I'll be curious to see if X actually sticks. Although he put up a giant freaking
X
sign
on the building,
and I guess the guy that lives across from there said that they were testing it out during the day, and he said it was like looking into the sun. It was so bright during the day and everything. So I'm like, oh God. But you can watch this on YouTube, and then once again, we do need your calls for Ask the Boys. Area code 863-874-0000. That episode will be at the end of the month, where we will answer listener calls, questions, concerns, thoughts, whatever, and let us know the drink that you want or that you pair with your cigars that's not alcohol and not coffee. So, anyway, well, final thoughts on the Aganorsa Leaf Guardian of the Farm Apollo here. I'm nearing or right on the edge of the final third.
Yeah, I'm right about the same spot.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Definite rebuy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a great starter or ending stick, just because of its good mellow smoothness.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy that'll blow your palate up if you're wanting to smoke 3 or 4. Let's say, for a day out.
Well, and you make a valid point that if you're a medium to full-bodied smoker, it's a good starter cigar. But if you're a light smoker,
This is your capper.
yeah, this is something that you could end your day with, and it's something you can kind of dip your toe in the water and see if you want to try something a little heavier,
Right.
and kind of expand your horizons a little bit.
I would definitely say this is not a golf stick.
No.
This is not a golf stick. And for those of you who wonder what I mean by that, this would not handle the outdoors in an open environment very well. You would not be very happy. That one kicked in on that one.
Pepper ramps up as you go through. So the retro hail heading into the final third here, there is definitely more spice to it as you go further into the cigar. Yes, and no, you're right. I don't think it would handle the elements well.
Patio, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to have an issue. But golf course, out on the lake in a boat, no.
You're going to be touching it up and lighting it again and everything else. And, and then, hell, just sitting here, I'm having, my bird line has been very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell that I'm smoking it a little fast because every once in a while I get just a little bit of a wave to it. So then I got to slow it down and let it catch up. And it does. It catches up very nicely. But, I can tell that that's my smoking speed being just a little quick. But, no, all in all, I mean, look, it's Aganorsa Leaf. You don't really get anything bad from Aganorsa Leaf. So I knew going into it that I was going to dig it. I just, and I'm sure I've smoked this before. But
I know I have. It's been a while, though.
I can't quite remember. So, anyway. Well, Mike, I appreciate you taking time out of the day.
I appreciate coming back on.
Yeah. Well, we can do this again sometime.
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody local.
Right.
The Zoom is great. but Zoom presents me all sorts of challenges and stuff like that, and it's just nice to have somebody local. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
All right. Well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. Seriously though, HBO has Tusk. You need to watch that. I want to get your I'm not giving you any more. You need to go into it and you need to just watch it and then report back to me because it's just so fucked up, and I just want to know, like, you know, I need somebody to talk to about this movie because it's so fucked up.
And you need to watch Red State.
Okay, that's the other one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll watch Red State. You watch Tusk, and we'll report back.
Okay.
Okay. Later, guys.